Welcome, Aquarius, to 2025 June. What a month it's going to be. You've got beautiful perks in love and beauty and friendship in the home, even luck and prosperity in that part of your sky this month ahead. We get some blessings from Mars to allow some relationship relief or decisions that are pretty critical and important in your life. And finally, better health and work stories coming up, courtesy of Jupiter. It's a month in which many planets are changing signs, and this gives this feeling of June that says something like, this is so different than the last 3 months that preceded it. So you're going to feel a real wave of something new, and 90% of it is very, very positive. So we're going to break it down in chronological order as we go through this month ahead and delineate your sign. Listen today for your sun, moon, or rising. You can do all three. Let me explain. Your sun sign is your character in this it's your real true self in the simulation, like it's your soul. But in real life it's kind of like father figures, but also career and purpose. So when you listen to your sun, it's quite often like going to take you toward career and purpose suggestions. Your moon is your home, your mother figures. But when you listen to moon stories in this kind of astrology, general astrology, it might pertain to matters of home, domicile, where you live, residence, private life. Finally, the rising sign is like the simulation avatar. You go into play a video game and you got to choose a character. That's your ascendant. That's your rising sign. And when you listen for your rising sign, it's often circumstantially the most accurate. You'll get the most true reading when we do general astrology, but certainly the sun would be next as in terms of importance. Some of you, the older you get, the more you lean into the sun and become less the character. Yeah, we'll see. So let's go ahead. We're going to talk about this month ahead. Exalted Jupiter is the big news, of course, moving into the sign of Cancer. Good for your health, good for your work. But let's go into the chronological order. Now, I do show you guys this. I'd like to show you this chart so that you can track with me. So for those who are astrologically geeky, here we go. We're going to spend about 25 minutes for each sign. So get ready for the overall story of this month. As we begin the month, Aquarius, June the 1st to the 5th, more or less, pretty exact on the 4th and the 5th, you'll notice that Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and friendship, is in a beautiful connection called a sextile to Jupiter. What does this mean? It means as Jupiter is finishing his tour of duty of the last year through your 5th house of children, romantic love, entrepreneurship, creative projects, good fortune, money, luck, as he finishes this tour of duty and he gets ready to move into the next sign, what happens is Venus is talking to him. And this first week of June looks like you could have some significant lucky breaks in the following areas. A lucky opportunity for romantic love because you're single and you can meet somebody in the local neighborhood, in a online dating app, in something like a learning or educational setting. If you're already with somebody, this can look very much like the first week of June allows for some leisure travel, some greater pleasure in the local environment, in the romantic setting. And if you are looking to make a baby, and some of you might be of the age where that is a storyline, well, hey, this is a nice fertility transit. Looks like you could get pregnant during this time, especially if you're on a small, short getaway trip, like a weekend getaway. If you're an artist or creator, I love this first week because I think your artistic projects get great success in the 3rd house, writing projects, social media, online stuff, and luck and expansion and growth. So entrepreneurial things are thriving for you in the first week of June in this regard. Now, on June the 4th, 5th or so, when this is all happening at its most intensity, you'll also notice that Mercury is getting ready to have a positive powwow with Mars. Now, Mercury and Mars are good for commercial enterprise, right? Making money through marketing and selling and driving and passion and getting things going. Well, these two guys are going to allow for you to reach out to an audience or a marketplace, if that's your cup of tea, with great success. Things that you wish to do entrepreneurially and creatively can hit the mark and be a commercial or financial success. This is really active around June, the sort of 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, around that time. Let's transfer the chart to that time frame. There we go. We'll see it on June 4th, 5th, 6th. Now, communications from a romantic partner or involving a child in this time frame as well, around the 3rd to the 6th of June could look like it's positive. Some lucky breaks for one of your kids, some good news from a romantic partner, that kind of thing. Especially if you've been stressed out in your long-term relationship with separation or confusion or conflict. That's a Mars story. We'll be getting to that in a minute. This could be a nice healing energy around difficulties in a longer term relationship. And a lot of that is a part of the story. I don't care if you've been married for 1,000 years or you just started, committing seriously in the last few months. There's something trying to heal in that kind of relationship setting this month. And that's a really important part of the sky. And we'll get to it as we get to that time zone. Now, I want to mention that around June the 7th and the 8th, Jupiter will actually sit with Mercury. They're going to be fusing their energies into one essence. It's called a conjunction. And this is happening in a house of great luck. We call the 5th house a house of good fortune. And around 29 degrees of Gemini, an anaretic, completion, critical degree, Jupiter in a house of good fortune, speculation, gaming, gambling, Mercury, ballots, tickets, winning. This is good. I'm just going to say this is general bell curve entertainment astrology, but you could win or you could play a winning ticket or casino or bingo wall or something like that. This is not advice. This is a possibility. This is not everybody's story. But I would say around June 7th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, the luck is upon you. The luck of the Irish is landing in the house of good fortune for you. And this can only happen in this way once or twice every 12 years. One thing I would say about this Jupiter conjunction to Mercury is good news. And so you might get some early June, 7th and 8th, really good phone call, text messages, or emails, jumping for joy. Good news is on the horizon. And because it's about Jupiter leaning into the 6th house right after the 6th, 7th, and 8th, good news for a work opportunity, good news around a pet situation, good news around rental properties, and maybe good news around health. It's going to bleed into the next house when both Jupiter and Mercury slide over there. So keep that in mind as well. One of your children has incredible good news. One of your children announces they're pregnant. You're going to be a grandparent, or if you are of fertility age, maybe you're announcing to your partner, hey, honey, we're pregnant. That could happen off of this sky, June 6th, 7th, and 8th. Now, Mercury is going to come into a difficult conversation with Saturn. It's not the end of the world, but it can mean difficult times in communication. Hard conversations need to happen. And this is occurring approximately June 8th and 9th as Mercury lands his butt in Cancer, talking to Saturn in early Aries, angular, cardinal, intense energy. What is it about? Well, if it's a work situation, because this is a house of employees, employers, and work, then it could be a bit of a gnarly moment talking to somebody in authority, somebody above you or over you in a place of power. If it's about your rental situation, you might have to make some concessions about some kind of rental agreements and property agreements in this time frame. If it's about something to do with your online communication, social media, and all of that, there might be a bit of a bad news energy, hard news energy. Conserve your energy, be strategic, conserve yourself energy here as well. Now, it's not the worst thing, by the way, in the world that I've ever seen, because Saturn isn't the really the bad guy. But think about hard conversations and think about being strategic and think about maybe even a difficult conversation with a neighbor, aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, nephew, those sorts of stories. Again, we're looking around June the 8th, 9th, and 10th, where you'll be feeling that quite strongly. Now, one thing about Mercury, this is a month, as I said in the beginning, all signs are changing, all planets are changing signs. Mercury now will be in your 6th house as of this transition of June 8th, 9th, time zone dependent. And as he moves into Cancer, you'll have a lot of different energy through to June 26, where your communications are applying to your work with great ardor. For some of you, this could be a lot of writing, communicating, marketing, selling, messaging to do with work. Some of you might be making a lot of information or ideas happen in the workplace. And if you need to negotiate your terms of service in a job, Mercury will be lending you the strength to get accomplishments of getting what you want in the work situation should you be employed by somebody else. You get that super Mercury energy favoring you through June 9th to the 26th. Alrighty, on June the 6th, by the way, Venus has slid into Taurus. This is her home kingdom. She's going to be in Taurus till July the 4th. It is going to be a time where everything to do with your home, your property, your land, your real estate, your relationship to your mother, friends in the home, social times in the home, beauty in the home, decorating the home, prosperity in and from the home. These are stories that you're going to really enjoy. This is a once a year glow up as Venus moves into your 4th house, and she brings a sense of real goodness to your private and home life. And a lot of times when she was here, I see people buying furniture, pillows, redecorating, repainting, but sometimes also just enjoying their privacy and their alone and their home time more than being a social butterfly out in the world. So you may be more prone to spending romantic time or friendship time, cooking, entertaining, being in the home, June the 6th to July the 4th. If you want to buy or sell a house, this is going to also lend you support and luck. All the way through to July 4th, she is moving through Taurus. And as we get into the first 4 days of July, she's bumping up against Uranus. Happy surprises to do with love, money, and friendship connected to the home, coming through closer to July the 4th. Now, moving into the chronological order yet again, you'll notice that around June the 9th and 10th, Jupiter also changes signs. He moves, depending on your time zone, on June 9th or 10th into the Cancer part of the sky. And Aquarius, this is good for your health. This is good for your work. This is good for you being the boss and hiring employees. This is good for you being employed and getting perks, raises, promotions, and the boss is loving you. This is great for getting a pet, a lucky pet, a good pet, a perfect pet in the year that Jupiter spends in the sign of Cancer, in his exaltation. It's fantastic for improving your health. Jupiter is always looking for the benefic side of life, the good side, the hope, faith, and optimism. He usually brings health improvement results moving through the 6th house. So you're going to see your health go on the upswing, often, especially with Mercury there, because you have the information, news, understanding, lab work, or whatever you need to tackle the problem, if there is a problem. And as Jupiter is the ruler of the house of what goes in your mouth, some of the stuff will be changed by dietary habit shifts, including alcohol and anything that goes through the face into your body. Some of you will be making those sorts of adjustments to improve your health because of Jupiter's blessings in your 6th house. And you begin to feel that as a true blessing, a true possibility. As I said, June 9th to 10th, add a year. Yay, us. I'm one of you. Yay, us Aquarians. We don't mind this. Feels good to me. Hope you're enjoying it as well. Now, one of the other parts of the sky that is noteworthy and worth paying attention to is Venus squaring Pluto. Why? Because it is going to be a power struggle of some kind. Anytime Pluto's involved, we see power, struggle, energy, domination, and control, and Venus is a goddess of love. June 9th and 10th is a bit of a duck window. Now, let's be clear. Venus is a benefic, and even in a square to Pluto, it might still turn out. And she's in her home kingdom. She has the upper hand. You may have a conflict, a power struggle regarding something to do with a domestic dispute, home property, real estate. Somebody wants something, you want something else. You've got the dominating force of Pluto on your side. Venus, though, is a benefic. She gets what she wants because she knows what's best for everybody. You're going to feel it pretty acutely June 8th, 9th, and 10th. So this June 8th, 9th, and 10th, just be aware of power struggles connected to the home, connected to property, connected to land, maybe connected to your mother or people that are staying in your home. If you have visitors or friends in the home at that time, yeah, you might have a pretty tough moment there. The good news is as she's fighting with Pluto, she's having a love up with Mercury. She's in a more or less general vibe of sextiling him. This means that conversations can go well, even when there's a power struggle in place. So it's not the worst of all the possibilities here. June the 11th, there's a full moon in Sagittarius at 20 degrees. June the 11th, a full moon in Sagittarius at 20 degrees offers a fulfillment of a seed you planted roughly 6 months earlier to create something in your 11th house of good spirit, like new friendship circles, greater gains and perks and rewards from your career, including celebrity, raises, promotions, and more money, an increase of or change or a flowering of some kind of long-range goal or dream that you have for your life. And a full moon tries to fulfill the thoughts, seeds, and energies planted 6 months before during the new moon in the fall, usually in November of last year. I think that this moon coming into its fruition is going to be very positive. I have a good feeling about this lunation because it's in a very beautiful fire trine to both Mars and Chiron. This is going to feel like initiative and daring can pay off, especially when it comes to writing, communicating, and traveling. And it could be very powerfully assertive for bringing a healing to a long-term committed love relationship as well. Certainly, friends can be very good helpers during this moon, and this moon is June the 11th, and you'll see the greater details of the moon in the 2 weeks that follow. Now, you'll notice that Jupiter is having a cranky conversation, this building up here around June the 10th and 11th with Saturn. And in essence, Jupiter and Saturn will be squaring each other almost all of June, from June 9th to the end of the month. However, it gets most exact in the middle of the month, around the 13th, 14th, 15th. Jupiter is all about the opportunities that you can have in that health, work, career, pets, rental opportunities. It's all about that expansive hope and optimism, growth and faith. No problems, right? Who doesn't want that? And then Saturn has this sort of finger up going, wait a minute. Let's be realistic. Let's be careful. Let's be strategic. Let's be cautious. Let's give this thing some form. Now, form isn't bad here because with Jupiter in your 6th house, if your work is marketing, selling, teaching, or writing, all this means is you're going to find structures and forms that work in the long game for this kind of enthusiasm you're having. And especially if you want to structure a new course or structure a new website or structure a new social media endeavor, that's what Saturn and Jupiter can do here. Or structure something to do with a learning environment. You want to take courses and you want to have set structures for when you wish to learn. Those things happen. This would be more professional educational learning than any other kind. Even structuring travel connected to work all through the month of June may be very critical. Otherwise, you could have a sibling one younger, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, and some difficult struggles and tensions with that sibling as well. You've got all this buoyant enthusiasm, especially if you employ a sibling, and a sibling is having some pushback about something with you, some reality checks with you. Again, when will this be? Well, you're going to feel it pretty well June the 8th, 9th, June the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. June 9th to the 12th, it's kind of in full force. You'll notice that Saturn and Neptune are beside each other. They don't perfect the conjunction, but they hang out all June right beside each other. It's a backdrop story. In essence, it means that there's something about making one's visions and goals and imaginations, things you wish, desire, fantasize, and imagine to have in your 3rd house, Saturn real, tangible, and structured. So it's not a bad hookup between these two. However, Saturn never really touches Neptune until next year. So some of these ideas that you're trying to structure or these goals in writing, teaching, communicating, traveling, marketing, and selling may not fully flesh out until next year in the way you would hope they would, but keep at it. This is going to be kind of giving form to your visions and your goals in the month of June. Now, I talked about relationship healing, and there's a reason. Mars entered into your 7th house of long-term committed love back in November 3rd. He was there all of November to December the 6th, I think, or January the 6th. So November and December, you had Mars in your 7th house. And then Mars came back mid-April, and he leaves on the 17th of June. In your 7th house, what Mars tends to do is end, cut, sever any relationship, friendship, significant other in your life if that is no longer viable, needed, or healthy. Think of cutting the gangrene limb or the rotting, tree branch that's going to deplete the rest of the tree, so deadwood. So that's a thing. And also, if you're like me on social media, you had so many trolls coming at you, you just wanted to scream. Troll city as well. Well, because anger coming at you, aggression coming at you, conflict coming at you. Now, if you've been separated from a partner in love, and that's classic, I have been. My partner went back to the United States because we have border issues, right? 2 countries. That can just be a separation or time apart from a significant other. The healing is coming up here. You're going to notice this. Basically, the beauty of how Chiron, the wounded healer, can begin to work with Mars in the relationship house like this. And on June the 10th, all the way through for about a week, I'd say June the 10th to about I think you're still going to be feeling it until, June the 15th, June the 10th through the 15th. is a real mending of the fences, or a bringing a healing to a separation with a partner, conflict with a partner in love or business, or difficulty with your trolls or audience or marketplace, and trying to resolve that. Okay, so there's a healing vibe in long-term committed love. And don't forget, we had a Sagittarius lunation full moon as well happening to make this all very lit up in a grand trine energy. So I would say, if I was giving you advice, because Chiron is in the house of short distance travel, I would say that if you're having relationship challenges or wanting to mend a fence or even end a relationship on a namaste vibe, then use this time frame. Use this time frame of June the 11th to the 15th, 10th to the 15th for that operation, and go on a getaway, a short distance trip. That kind of thing is very good for the relationship, one way or the other. It doesn't matter how it goes. On June the 12th, Venus and Mercury are in a really lovely energy together. When those two are in a sweet sextile like this, sextiles are the nature of Venus, right? I'm a little bit off my chronological. There's a lot going on, but this is starting up on June 11th, and you're still feeling it. So you'll feel it like June 11th, 3 days before and after. June 11th, 3 days before and after. You're going to say to yourself, wow, negotiating anyone, negotiating a purchase, real estate deal, negotiating a new job connected to, being able to work from home, negotiating for better health in your home connected to medical matters. It's good news when it comes to health. It's good news when it comes to real estate and property matters, and including buying and selling. Mercury rules your house of mortgages. Good for that. Good for paying down debt, paying off a credit card, paying the mortgage. I love this energy, June 11th, but 3 days before and after, it's in play for you. Oh my gosh, it's a classic get a pet as well if you want to get a pet. Jupiter owns your house of possessions. Mercury is in the house of pets. Venus says beautiful pet, pretty pet, lovely pet. You don't have to get the pet. You can order a pet from the breeder, but things to do with pets may be very much on your radar around June 11th, 3 days before and after, in a very sweet way, in a way that brings good things to you. And it is somewhat rare. And because it would take, you have to go back 12 years ago for this to happen this way with Jupiter in attendance. So did you get a pet 12 years ago? If you want to go back in time, you might be able to remember that. I did. That's so funny. Did I? No, I didn't. I already had my pet. Okay. All right. Moving on. All right. What we are going to talk about next is difficult in the world. I'm going to not mince it. I'm going to be doing a world video about this. This is not a happy sky, June 12th to the 16th, for world events that are quite calamitous. I'm going to say that is true. But in your own life, you're not a war and you're not a world. So you're a person. And when Mars is squaring Pluto, it's a part of a larger geopolitical story. In your chart, Mars squaring, did I say squaring? Squaring Uranus. Mars squaring Uranus, not Pluto, is an unexpected, surprising change or development in a long-term committed love story or regarding land, home, property, private and domestic life, and real estate. Uranus brings a surprise, and Mars makes you cut and sever or decide something. So there is this June 12th to the 16th vibration of unexpected, surprising elements. I can't possibly tell you what it is because I'm not, sure. Uranus is unexpected. So just know that you can expect the unexpected June 12th to the 16th, primarily when it comes to significant business and love partnerships and or your audience marketplace and property, land, real estate. So in other words, if you had a real estate contract, you're trying to buy a place, maybe it's going to calamitously go in a new direction that you didn't see, all right, on the 12th to the 16th. All right, moving into the next story. Mars, I'm a little off my chronological. No, I'm not. I'm good. Mars is going to cross the sign boundary. And this is so important because of his long stay of 2 whole months in Leo in a way we haven't seen since this September of 77 to June of 78. We're kind of tracking a very old story. So I want you to see what happens when he crosses the sign boundary for the geeks here. He's going to be here. He's moving forward. And just as he's getting ready to cross around June the 15th, 16th, Jupiter squares Neptune and gets into a tight tangle there. That could be disillusionment, disappointment, clarity coming after a time of high hopes, and realism. And that could be about travel, writing, communicating, marketing, and selling, etc. Then off we go. And Mars has crossed over. Mars is now in Virgo, and that is your 8th house. That's your taxes. That's your shared resources with a partner. If you got through that 2 months of Mars in your 7th house and you're still together, fine. But if you realize that a relationship isn't going to work, then this can be about separation of jointly held financial assets and resources. Just saying, who gets the sofa, who gets the dog, who gets the house, that kind of stuff. Mars will be in the sign of Virgo, not for a day or two, but for a while, through until usually about 6 weeks. So June 17th, so all of June, Mars is moving through your 8th house. It's certainly going to feel like relief if you've been having relationship stress, so keep that in mind. I mean, in other words, at least that thing is figured out one way or another, right? The relationship stories can be now determined. And, June 17th to the rest of the month, Mars in your 8th house is about cleaning up, cutting, severing, ending any financial matters that are not particularly helpful, useful, or working for you anymore. So sometimes people, or if you want to get a passionate angle of investing in the stock markets because of Mercury's position in the 6th house witnessing Mars, stock market investing, trading, that can be very effective for you as well. Otherwise, you're kind of bookkeeping, clearing, reducing financial clutter, working out, stories to do with your money that way, like evening it out, cutting away the dead wood, figuring out your finances. June 17th to the end of the month. On June the 19th to the 21st or so, Mars, as he's beginning to manage to whip into that new zone of influence, begins to talk in a positive way with Jupiter. And I love the energy because it's about prosperity and command. And so luck, prosperity, and command through work and income or money sources that come in chunks. Now, chunky money can be YouTube ad revenue, royalty income. It could be winning money. It could be inheritance money. It's so many ways it can come, but there's money to be had in these here hills as Mars moves through the chunky money house and loves up Jupiter in the 6th. Unexpected prosperity that allows for a complete payment of a debt. No more credit card debt, no more mortgage, off it goes, that kind of thing. Jupiter can give you work opportunities, career opportunities that also look good on you financially as well. And, could be a sign-on bonus, a severance package, some kind of a stock. You can buy stock options in the company. I don't know. This looks good on you. For sure, for sure. June the 21st, of course, is the solstice, and the sun has moved into a Pisces, into Cancer, where she'll be for a month. This is going to give you a lot of focus on your work, your health, pets, rental opportunities, and better daily routines. And you're going to start to feel this kicking in around the 20th, 21st, as the sun is ingressing time zone dependent into the sign of Cancer. And as the sun does this, the first thing it does is love up Mars. So look for this kind of intense way Mars is being given support from Jupiter, Sun, even Mercury, to do the best thing he can for you in a money house. The other side of Mars's transit is you could get a passion going for some kind of occult knowledge and mystery learning, like studying astrology, studying the tarot, studying the ancient alchemical arts, and you want to use those for your work. Well, then yes, absolutely, because Jupiter will help you learn the professional tools you need for your work, etc. And Mars has got back up from the sun and Jupiter. Oh, such a beautiful sky. And there's nothing about that I don't like on the money front as well. So again, we're seeing that glow up in the money front from the work front, June the 21st through to about the 26th. By the way, if you did want to get a pet at all, then this would be also ideal when we have Sun, Jupiter, Mercury in the 6th house. And so anytime after June 20th, yes, get a pet. I think I'd wait otherwise, just in case. These things can be dicey. June the 26th, Mercury will sextile Uranus. I have to move us back. Hang on. June 21st, Mercury will sextile Uranus. This is surprising positive news. That's all. And it has to do with health. So you get your blood work, and that's fantastic. It has to do with work. It has to do with property, land, and real estate and rental properties. It has to do with pet situations. Positive, surprising, good news coming through June the 26th. Give it a day or two on either side. I like it. June 27th is another story that is interesting. Mercury finally is going to leave behind the Leo transit. Hang on a sec. Oh, when I try to do this without being able to pin it, it drives me up the wall. Mercury is going to be traveling across the sign boundary of Cancer and into Leo on June the 26th. Well, it's going to be Mercury in Leo for a little bit of time, all the way through until September 2nd because of retrogradation. We'll be covering that later in another video. But definitely because of retrogradation, colleagues, coworkers, and people from your past, especially in July, may come into your life again. In the meantime, Mercury's going to spend, till September 2nd in a workhouse, in a pet house, in a rental property house, and in a health house. Certainly Mercury here, if you're working and you have, you're employed or you employ others, it's good for employing others and getting staff in place. It's good for using new kinds of communications tools in your work, negotiating a better deal. I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry, guys. I lost the horizon line. I'm not going to edit. I don't have time. Just delete the last 4 seconds of what I said, okay? Mercury's moving into your seventh house of primary love relationship, business partnerships, and meeting the audience and marketplace and the public in your work path. Okay. Mercury here is deals. This is a legal agreements house. You're going to make deals. Okay, you're going to make agreements with other people. You're going to be doing those deals and agreements for quite a long time. How long? All the way through to September 2nd. I'm so sorry about the screw up there. And as this is happening, all these deal making, wheeling and dealing, it's also good for putting communications out into the world in some kind of super powered way. Now, don't forget, in July, Mercury retrogrades in the seventh house. Spouses and former marriage type partners and business partners from the past, old clients from the past, come back into your life for some reason in the month of July. Phone calls, text messages, and emails. You get the gist. As Mercury is moving through Leo, he's coming in right away to an opposition to Pluto. Power struggle conversations and a long-term existing love relationship in the last 4 days of the month. June 26th to the 30th, there's going to be intensity with conversations with clients, customers, public, significant long-term love and business partnerships, dominating power, controlling disagreements, verbally, phone calls, text messages, emails, you name it. It's just all there. Is there an upside? Yes. Because of Saturn's complicity, everything you're doing here is to give you a good long game structure. If it's about long-term love, those difficult conversations in the last 4 or 5 days of June are to your favor, are to your benefit. Allow for the relationship to become more stable. They're the conversations that need to happen. If the relationship ends and Saturn is supporting an ending because it's not in alignment with your long-term goals and dreams. So keep that in mind, because this is kind of like the last part of the relationship narrative. Finally, I'm so sorry I screwed that up. I do apologize. I want to talk a little bit about the idea that we have the moon coming up as another lunation on June the 25th. We have a new moon. It is at 4 degrees of Cancer. It is a blessed lunation. And it's so powerful because when the moon is new at 4 Cancer in your 6th house, it's going to be a moon that is in a profound communion with Jupiter. It's lucky. It's a lucky new moon at 4 degrees of Cancer. And it's going to give you luck in health, luck and good news in work, luck and good news regarding pets, and luck and good news regarding debt elimination, and luck and good news regarding rental properties, whether you're the landlord or the tenant. That is such a beautiful lunation. It's going to pop in that sky. It's going to be fresh and brand new, and it's going to take up to 6 months to fulfill all of the angles, but it's also going to be evident what it's about within the first 2 weeks. Okay, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm recording these videos for my Patreon community. This is May 20th. They get early access ad-free content. If that interests you, please consider joining Patreon for as little as $5 a month. We have Zoom meetings. We teach classes. We have more connection. We have chats. We're an more intimate community off of this platform, YouTube. So come check me out over there. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.